What's up? What's up? What's up, family? Let's talk about something that actually matters, right? Cutting through the headlines and getting to the truth about what's going on in Washington. President Trump recently held a cabinet meeting, and a few major things came out in the media, misreported or ignored entirely. And first, we're going to talk about the truth about Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid, because a lot of people that's bank on these things, or it's very important. Uh, there are benefits, right? And a reporter pushed the idea again that Trump is going to cut Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. So before I get into the conversation with you guys and we talk about it, let's check out the video.
The president's spending bill that passed last night aims to cut $2 trillion.
Right.
Can you guarantee that Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security will not be touched?
Yeah, I mean, I have said it so many times, you shouldn't be asking me that question, okay? This will not be read my lips. It won't be read my lips anymore. We're not going to touch it. Now, we are going to look for fraud. I'm sure you're okay with that, like people that shouldn't be on, people that are illegal aliens and others, criminals in many cases. And that's with Social Security. We have a lot of people. You see that immediately when you see people that are 200 years old that are being sent checks for Social Security. Some of them are actually being sent checks. So we're tracing that down, and I have a feeling that Pam is going to do a very good job with that. But you have a lot of fraud. But no, I'm not. We're not doing anything on this.
Well, there you have it, folks. And this is a narrative we have heard for years from the Democrats and the media. First, the Democrats said that Donald Trump is going to get rid of parenthood, where basically women are able to kill their children, or I should say, abort them, and that narrative has gone down. Then they try to say that Donald Trump was over evaluating his home or his properties, like the golf course in Mar-a-Lago. That was from Letitia James in New York, the Attorney General. That went pushed under the rug, and they continue to spew lies and then push them under the rug when they get held when they actually get fact checked and they're actually wrong. And this narrative with the Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid, Trump shut it down flat, and he made it clear that no cuts to these programs. And what he is doing, though, is going after fraud and abuse. Simple as that. And that's the part that the media controversy leaves out. Trump mentioned examples like illegal aliens or deceased individuals collecting Social Security checks. And that's not some conspiracy theory, right? That's taxpayer money being funneled to people who do not qualify. And cleaning that up isn't cutting budgets, it's protecting them for people who actually needs those benefits, right? So it's simple as that. He's operating for the best interest of the American people, let alone making sure things operate more effectively and efficiently. And this is what I love about this administration. They're very clear cut, straight to the point. They'll talk to you from a childlike perspective, not all these intelligent words and a bunch of juggernaut to get you off throne. And they're basically spewing a bunch of nonsense. They get straight to the point, strictly business, and they let the American people know what's going on with full transparency to the fullest. And I think this is the administration with the full that has been on a run, and the first administration actually with the full transparency on displayed, as we know that Donald Trump is not a part of the establishment, and a typical politician will say one thing and say another. And that's the beauty of it, because a lot of times with individuals who are deceased and Social Security is still being collected is because the family members may have not reported it, and they continue to utilize the deceased member of their family benefits by collecting them, which means there's someone in the family that may have greed taking place, where even if their family is deceased, their family member is deceased, they're so money hungry to the point they won't even report and do the right thing, out of ignorance of taxpayer money being used that they are taking to not report the family member being deceased, or there hasn't been um, records being updated effectively to where the deceased or the individuals of the deceased, the dead, are being reported on record so benefits can stop, right? But then we'll go into now the beauty of it, and this hit home for me because I have a autistic son. He's 5 years old, nonverbal, and this really means dear to me. So next we have Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Um, basically talking about claims of autism rates, right, and what he's going to do about it.
It was 1 in 10,000 children had autism, and now it's 1 in 31. Not 31,000, 31. That's a horrible statistic, isn't it? And there's got to be something artificial out there that's doing this. So you think you're going to have a pretty good idea, huh?
We will know by September.
There will be no bigger news conference than that. So that's it. If you can come up with that answer, where you stop taking something, you stop eating something, or maybe it's a shot, but something's causing it. It can't be from 10,000 to. Can you imagine that, Marco? That's a big number. It was 1 in.
Well, it is a big number because growing up, and I'm a 1999 baby, I never have seen as much autistic um, and ADHD individuals out of this world. And I always speculated with my own theory, my own opinion, of course, in regards of such things being on recall, like all the way back to baby powder, right? Johnson and Johnson. I used to use that. My grandma used to powder me up, boy, like no tomorrow, boy. Powder my underarms up the whole nine. As a kid, I wasn't ready for deodorant yet. And then that got recalled, and then formula with heavy metals being in that being recalled, Gerber baby food having metals in it, that being recalled. And it's like, man, so many things are being recalled by so much mistakes and errors within the food. And then you see the expansion of the autism and the ADHD, which only makes sense to correlate to the nutrients and stuff taking place. Also, to the person that's carrying, the powerful mothers out there, and the beauty of carrying a child. And let's put this out there, and it's so beautiful to the point. And shout out to the strong mothers, because giving birth um is very, very life risky. For every mother who's giving birth, there's always a potential of her constantly, or the potential or risk of the mother basically, how can I put this? The mother basically can have a risk of death of her own by giving birth to a child. And what also plays a part of how the mother take care of herself in the early trimesters of carrying her child. If you eat like crap, that goes to your child that you're carrying, right? And look, with autism rates and as big as the spectrum is, I can tell you, as I'm continuing to learn and pour into myself every day. If you guys want to go check out my videos with my son that I did recently, with him being nonverbal and him getting glasses that will help him focus more, with vision therapy being connected to that. I didn't know a developmental eye doctor existed, or optometrist, put it like that. But for the autism rates to skyrocket from 1 in 10,000 and 31 children, whether you agree with this theory or not, there's a statistic that deserves real attention. And the takeaway is there has to be a root cause for that kind of increase, cause and effect, right? And asking the tough questions about environment, food, medicine, whatever is not a conspiracy, it's responsibility. And if there's something artificial driving this trend, we owe it to our kids and future generations to find out what it is. I think it's self-explanatory within itself. And, you know, growing up and being a 1999 baby, I haven't seen as many ADHD kids and autism kids ever. More than my 25 years on earth and going to middle school and stuff like that. I mean, you had things like the slow class, like the kids that learned at a slower rate, they needed more time on the tests. And then but that was about it. And most of the time the parents work with them because it starts at home, in connection with the school being on unison and everybody being on one page, and me going to private school, Catholic private school. I was privileged to, thanks to my parents. Um, the parents just work with them more to where the spectrum didn't exist as much and wasn't as wide and big of an increase with kids being diagnosed with ADHD or autism as much as it is today, because the parents work with them. They actually paid attention to the foods they give their kid, and also the dangers of the food having its side effects to it in itself has increased with what they're putting in our food for cheaper production, let alone cheaper product, at the detriment of Americans who consume these foods, like myself and others. So it also has the thing of it also has the thing of holding a responsibility to, you know, the these products in the local markets, right? In the grocery stores. Um and holding them accountable, let alone individuals have to educate themselves as well. So then we, the people, can actually create the change, um, vocalizing the importance of this with our own research, right? And also, we have to invest back in America, which then correlates, and that's a whole different topic within the trade war. Because the problem is, we have been self reliant on other countries who also have been shipping over cheaper products at the detriment of America's putting anything in the foods that they do export over here that we receive to put in our local grocery stores for the overall wealth of their own countries by basically selling us a product that's cheap nutrient wise, but they bank on Americans as customers to then buy the product, but then it's at the detriment of Americans' health, which also raises a concern in my opinion. But this autism and ADHD increase never that has been increased never before at the rate that has been never before. So we have to start investing back in our communities, our local farmers, our local meat markets in our community in America. And I feel like that plays a big part in this thing. Um, but look, man, you cannot um I don't know how can you have difficulty with understanding this and understanding the importance of this. But let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. But next I want to talk about Elon Musk and the reality of government waste. Okay, family. I do want to touch on that because Elon Musk was at the cabinet meeting, and Elon Musk pointed out the absurd levels of fraud and waste in the federal government. And he gave an example that sounds like satire. Um, Unemployment benefits going to people who haven't been born yet. But check this out.
Hello, Elon.
Well, thanks to your fantastic leadership, this amazing cabinet, and the very talented Doge team, I'm excited to announce that we anticipate savings in FY26 from reduction of waste and fraud by $150 billion. And and some of it is just absurd, like people getting unemployment insurance who haven't been born yet. I mean, I think anyone can appreciate whether, I mean, come on, that's just crazy. Some of these things, people ask me like, well, how are you going to find waste and fraud in the government? I'm like, well, actually just go in any direction. That's how you find it. It's very common. it's, as the military would say, target-rich environment. So I think we're doing a lot of good in excellent collaboration with the cabinet to achieve these savings, and it will actually result in better services for the American people, and that we're going to be spending their tax dollars in a way that is sensible and fair and good.
And your people are fantastic. In fact, hopefully they'll stay around for the long haul. We'd like to keep as many as we can. They're great, smart, sharp, right? Finding things that nobody would have thought of. Very computer savvy.
Yeah. We're working with hard to get the Trump Gold Card operational, hopefully in the next week or so.
That'll be very exciting.
All right, family. So that's the video. If the audio is a little bit iffy, it's not on my end. It's just how the video is based on the audio levels of the video, and me receiving this video to show to you guys. But that's mind blowing, right? Unemployment benefits going to people who aren't even born yet. That's how bad things have gotten. and he's leading Elon Musk an aggressive style review of government spending, and it's already projected to uncover 150 billion in savings. The media tried to twist that, saying he promised a trillion and only delivered a fraction. But let's be honest, saving 150 billion is a win, in my opinion. That's not a failure. That's a start. And we need more of that mindset in government, not less. And look, man, it's mind blowing to me. But I want you to see how this woman, Miss Collins, basically tried to twist up Elon Musk's words.
Today, Elon Musk told the president's cabinet at a cabinet meeting that instead of $1 trillion in savings, they expect to get about $150 billion in savings. What would you say to Americans or your constituents who might be worried that he gave them false hope of what he could achieve?
Well, the question is over the course of a 10-year window, right? Over the next 10 years, over the next 10 years, we're projected to spend $86 trillion in spending. The budget resolution that was passed talks about potentially 1.5 trillion in savings over 10 years. That amounts to about $150 billion on an annual basis. Now, he's talking about the work that he is doing and the Department of Government Efficiency is doing, which is basically a turbocharged forensic audit through every department and agency, which hasn't been done in years. And the fact is that we have a federal government that spends $7 trillion on an annual basis, including $1 trillion to pay our interest on our debt. We have $36 trillion in debt. This is not sustainable.
And it makes sense, right? You see how Miss Collins, she tried to basically twist Elon Musk's words on basically saying that they are only saving $150 billion a year, or $150 billion, not a year. But the reality is, Elon Musk is speaking to, and like he said, what he's doing, right? And you can only speak on something, and it's clear as ever. I mean, it's straight to the point. You can only speak on something that you're doing in regards of what's your role when it comes to playing a part in this administration, and in this case, the Trump administration. So the way she's trying to cover it, like, oh, is it projected to undercover $150 billion in savings when he did actually, um, he saying he promised a trillion. Well, 150 billion is a start, and he mentioned that America spends over like 7 trillion in spending, right? So we need to have the mindset of keep going. And look, man, this administration only been in office for 3 months, lady. But however, I want to close saying this with my final thoughts. What are we really fighting for is the question I ask you guys. And I want to have a conversation. And let me know your guys' thoughts down in the comments below. Because we all should be asking, why is anyone pushing back against efforts to cut fraud, protect benefits, and audit bloated agencies? If you oppose removing waste, maybe it's because you benefited from it, right? Or you know someone who does. And this isn't about politics. It's about preserving what's rightfully ours, protecting the programs Americans rely on, and demanding accountability from a system that's gotten too comfortable with dysfunction. And that's the only thing I can take from this. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. Thanks for tuning in. If you're here for honest, grounded, American first commentary, make sure you subscribe, and I'll keep bringing you what matters, people, because that's really what matters is having American first in the best interest of Americans. I'm for America. I'm not for this Democratic, Republican side. I don't play sides. I actually just give the game and give the value to my best ability, what's in best interest for us as American people and America being strong. On that note, family, I love you guys. Let the love supersede the hate. Always spread that peace, love, and positivity, folks. On that note, peace.